Does your board of directors ask which marketing ideas are working and which should be cut? How do you compare a new marketing idea before approving it? Are your staff working on the most effective projects? How much effort do you spend on acquiring new donors versus retaining existing donors? How can you improve your CRA fundraising ratio? For nonprofits who spend more than $500,000 per year on fundraising to individual donors, here is a way to answer those questions on one sheet of paper. Just like a cash flow statement shows changes to your financial position over the year to an accountant, this report tracks the behavior of your donors over the year. This one-page report shows marketers which activities are working, which aren't, and helps the board set priorities for next year. Here is an example of a large nonprofit which spends about $4 million in marketing time and costs. They started the year with 25,000 donors. They lost 5,000 donors, renewed 20,000, which is a renewal rate of 80%, which is good. They gained 10,000 new donors to end the year with 30,000. Over the year, the donor portfolio grew by 5,000 donors. Their revenues increased to $4.3 million, but their revenues per donor went down. Add in their marketing costs, which increased slightly this year. Don't forget the time that marketing staff spend, which cost as much as out-of-pocket marketing costs. Now divide by the revenues and you get a percentage. The last column is the important one. Percentages that are lower are better. This formula is similar to the formula the CRA uses to calculate your fundraising ratio. So lowering this column will ultimately lower your CRA fundraising ratio. For this nonprofit, retaining existing donors is cheaper than acquiring new donors. There's another way to look at this data. If you invert the formula, for every $1 invested in retaining existing donors, this nonprofit received $1.30 in return. For every $1 invested in acquiring new donors, this nonprofit received only $1 in return. This nonprofit's costs are evenly split between acquisition and retention activities. Although they spend more externally to acquire new donors, their staff spends more time retaining existing donors. It is important to separate acquisition activities from retention activities to show the efficiencies of each. For example, is direct mail sent to renewing existing donors as effective as direct mail to acquire new donors? Next is a way to find out. Here are all the marketing activities done this year. So how can you decide which marketing activities are working and which aren't? Here are the results. Focus on the last column. The activities with the lower ratios are giving the best results. The activities with the higher ratios should be reviewed if you want to lower your CRA fundraising ratio. Investigate staff time. Perhaps there is a more productive use of staff time than working on the newsletter and TV program. Perhaps staff could be redirected to marketing activities to other donor types, such as foundations and corporations, which do not show up on this report, but do contribute to your overall CRA fundraising ratio. Whenever an idea appears for a new marketing activity, do a cost-benefit analysis and compare it to these multiples. If the idea lowers the overall multiple, go for it. If the idea increases the multiple, this process is a way to remove the emotion and personalities within your nonprofit and allows the board to make a decision based on facts. Even though there are a number of activities which cost more than they generate in revenue, there are a lot of untagged donors and you don't know which marketing activity or activities triggered them to donate. The true ratio for social media or the website may in fact be lower. Investigate the untagged donors for a fairer decision. Remember, this report is a guide. Your decisions could impact job descriptions and reporting structures. Media relations is separate. Media relations helps this nonprofit stay top of mind with existing donors and puts them on the radar screen for new donors, so it helps both. This report showed the efficiencies of marketing activities to individual donors. The same template can be adapted to measure the efficiencies of marketing activities for corporations, foundations, and major donors.